hatchling bounces and cheeps out of sheer excitement.
Mummy! Mummy! Looky, looky! At me!
It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying has hatched at long last. The chick trills contentedly and flaps its tiny feathers in recognition of its proud parent. It seems you've got a new mouth to feed.
Mummy!
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rabble panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
So, it wasn't a dream after all. Not a very chatty fellow, are you? An animal sty. Freight or food? Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Fresh meat. Bah! Nice. Plump. Banded like a chicken's leg, too.
The depth of unamused ennui staring back at you from those ovine eyes is startling.
Are you referring to the ballerina? Oh, so funny, so funny.
With two shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you to peruse her hay-filled manger. Did you expect a needle?
Click. This floor plate triggered something.
Hey, get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. A gentleman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
Before you can even touch the lever, you hear a sniff and snort behind you as the snoring Magister mumbles himself awake. One bloodshot eye opens, and then another.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer! What are you doing here, filthy lizard? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Damn! If it's not one thing, it's another. And no way I can trust those fools to deal with any nonsense on their own. Can't leave the prisoner alone, though. He's been nothing but trouble, I hear. That's all I needed to hear. Just don't let that caged rascal fool you. You can't trust him as far as you can throw him.
prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his eyes rest on yours.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lad. Say your prayers while you've breath to speak them. The halls await.
What would he have to gain by killing me? I need to keep my guard up.
Empty.
Not the most elegant solution, was it? And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with the others.
Empty.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves, don't they? Dungeon? You have the gall to call my laboratory a dungeon? I'd be quite annoyed with you if you didn't look so honestly perplexed.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens. Oh, do go on. I won't hold it against you. Promise. My, aren't we a meek little lamb? Perhaps I needn't have collared you at all, though it does look darling on you. So let's just leave it on, shall we? Because to answer your question, what this collar does is this. It makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
Good gods! There's been a murder here.
A young magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. Behind the magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. Aren't you enterprising? I'll let Waters tell you no herself. Go ahead. She with the body.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of,
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Figured as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Not in here, it isn't. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous.
The hatch is blocked. I need to find another way.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. I'm not suited for this. It's sea cow, not sea sheep. Haven't got any shears, have you? People these days.
You better be ready to talk here.
My mum is afraid of lizards. I'm not. I think you're neat. I'd be happy if I had a tail.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with it.
Wow. Are you a dragon? You look like a dragon. But where are your wings?
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Please, please, please.
That's enough now. Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
Don't you get saucy with me.
You! Sorcerer! Blood? No! Go! Oof.
Name? I don't like comedy. The Divine Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list.
Scram, eh? We're trying to catch a killer here.
Knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
How dare you classify this? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else. Your Majesty, turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right. I always knew you'd turn up rotten, Ben Nest. Your kind always hung closest to
The Magisters are out for blood. You saw the body, didn't you? Big bruiser like you ought to be able to take them on.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Come on, please, Losa.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming
A
out
broad
of
dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
Well, there has been...
He turns his head toward you, looking you up and down, and smiles before turning his attention to the ship once more.
You look like a boy to me. Listen if you're interested, or get gone if you aren't.
His eyes snap open. He looks at you and frowns.
Murder? Ah, that's what they were going on and on about. I wouldn't know anything about it. I kill a man. He knows who done it. His daddy knows who done it. And the mayor knows who done it too.
His eyes flutter shut, and he assumes his position of repose once more.
Whether they catch me is another matter, but I ain't one to hide my accomplishments. The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger, it's...
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
Anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. You've got ears on your head, haven't you? Do you need me to show you how to use them? There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we'd been traveling for... Yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy. Close to what lies beyond it, too.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
You are chill, aren't you? I ain't saying nothing. Bloody dwarves, I'll come back to you. And you better be
An
ready
elf
to talk.
sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She chuckles once more.
That red-cheeked refusal tells me more than licking you would. But suit yourself, darling.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mezd. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
Soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it. I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sob story somewhere else.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this Trampifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself. Not interested in the son of the Divine himself? I don't blame you one bit. But Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You, Lizard, what's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Majesty's more concern than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Insufferable. Didn't make it clear the first time. Scram.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
Forgive me, Kin. Were that I had more than gruel to serve. If I'd more than cornmeal and rotting roots, I'd concoct something more fitting. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right. I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mezd. Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I'm inspecting your teeth, in case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? Ah, music to my beleaguered stomach. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor? Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can cook and groom, but you have the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit. Still, beggars can't be choosers. So without further ado, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
You've got this wolf on a leash now.
You should probably come to terms with the fact that you've half a mind, full stop. Rein in your impertinence, will you? I'm a fair man, but I won't spare the rod. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now shoo!
give you that knuckle if you're carrying on.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out, flicks a finger against one of your scales, and rubs his chin.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
I am reading. Is this not evident? My book is in my hands, my face turned away from you. Perhaps my eyes not on the page. Damnable things.
He grabs a metal plate and watches his reflection with one eye as the other shifts left to right and up to down. He repeats the maneuver with the opposite eye.
No, they are working quite adequately. It seems you are at fault. Predictable, really. Oh? Oh, I see. I crossed a cultural taboo. How difficult. You have my apologies, Lizard. Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
Perhaps. Perhaps not. Understanding is all rather relative. Take this book, for example. I understand all of it, and yet none of it makes sense. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? What are you trying to hear anyway? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
There's nothing else.
Of course I do. Seems Voidwoe can dog your heels like a shadow. That's no way to live, is it? You'll see. We're gonna help you. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
It was one of them. I know it. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
What's your job? You look like a magic maker. Like me, but maybe not so strong.
Picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad?
What's your job? You look like a magic...
Hi! Do you like to play ball? We like to play ball.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Sing us a song. I know you can.
Be good, you scallywags.
Be careful. Someone died here. A magic...
Bloody dwarves. I'll come back to you.
So, anything interesting for me? I'll take that as a no.
pale young woman doesn't acknowledge you. She nods to the right without moving her gaze from the ground. The pale young woman doesn't acknowledge you. She nods to the right without moving her gaze from the ground.
Nothing to see here.
Off to the herd, little sheep. Away you go.
Like I said, you aren't on the list.
Please, please, please.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
Didn't make it clear the first time. Scram.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with it.
And if she tries to run, shoot her to kill.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
You seem on edge,
Maybe
officer.
that has the Majesty's
on
more
earth is the
concern
matter?
than your appetite.
Murder
You
most
get
foul.
saucy with me.
I strongly
Clearly
suspect
don't
you
know the first
all
thing
about it.
about sauce.
Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts sauce, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What happened?
Oh! What? What happened? Must have been the turnips. You dare strike a royal? Ooh!
The lizard's eyes close as he slips into unconsciousness. Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. Under his shaggy hair, you can see green eyes fluttering as if in a nightmare. A low whine escapes his lips. His eyes flicker open, but he doesn't register your presence at all.
Lucien. Lucien.
Ifan cries out. Then his eyes fall closed again. No matter how much you shake him now, he cannot be roused. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't see if he's living or dead. You hear a faint thud, thud, thud. He's alive, but only just.
No, not the final dark. Not yet.
It's no use. Your words do not seem to reach her.
The dice roll darkly. They're rolling for me.
The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open, like those of a corpse. Dark, greyish-black clouds swirl through them.
No.
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.